when Magnus Carlsen crushed Hikura Nakamura. Let me introduce you to Hikura Nakamura, the granddaddy of all chess streamers. This guy not only plays chess professionally, but he's also a very famous chess streamer out there. Nakamura is now a famous guy for his aggressive and attacking style of play. He's like a chess bulldozer, plowing through his opponents with sheer force. No wonder he's one of the most successful chess players in history. When it comes to winning tournaments, this guy knows how to bring the heat. One of Nakamura's secret weapons is his ability to think ahead of many moves in a game. Seriously, he's like a chess oracle. Combine that with his aggressive style and you've got a recipe for some seriously mind-boggling positions that his opponents struggle to navigate. It's like trying to find your way out of a maze made by a mischievous chess genius. But when the mighty Magnus Carlsen, the 5-time world champion, crossed paths with Nakamura in the World Blitz Championship of 2019, it was like watching a deck of cards being scattered. Nakamura's aggressive facade crumbled as Magnus unleashed his chess wizardry. The poor guy didn't stand a chance. It was a crushing defeat, plain and simple. You won't believe the twists and turns that unfold in this epic battle of wits. So in today's video, let's dive right into the action-packed chess match between Magnus Carlsen and Hikura Nakamura. It all starts innocently enough, with Magnus making his first move by moving his pawn to d4. Hikura almost instinctively responds with a knight to f6. It's like a dance they've done 100 times before. Magnus, ever the tactician, follows up with knight f3, and Hikura takes a moment to consider his options before settling on d5. The game is set, the pieces are in motion, and the tensions begin to build. The London system takes centre stage as Magnus deploys his active bishop to the great centre. The anticipation is palpable as the two grandmasters assess the situation, calculating the next move. Magnus, with a cheeky move, bf4, decides to flaunt his bishop on an early shopping spree. Nakamura swiftly counters with c5, claiming own stake of the centre. The tension rises as Magnus decides to develop his pieces harmoniously with e3, but Nakamura is not easily intimidated and he plays e6. Magnus boldly advances his knight with nbd2, asserting his dominance on the board. Nakamura also brings out his bishop with bd6, showing his resilience, and then like a thunderclap they engage in a trade of bishops. Hikura offers the exchange and Magnus accepts it, and then Hikura captures the bishop with queen d6. Magnus is no ordinary chess player, however. He has a reputation for excelling in endgames and every trade seems to tilt the scales in his favour. With each move the tension mounts and the pressure starts to get to Hikura, but he remains determined, hoping to turn the tide in his favour. Magnus strikes again with dxc5. He forces Nakamura to make a decision. Nakamura chooses to capture a pawn with qxc5, leading to a more simplified position. In a critical moment, Magnus decides to play his pawn to c4, a move that demands careful consideration from Hikura. He ponders his options, weighing the risks and rewards before finally deciding to trade down another set of pawns. He counters with dxc4, disrupting Magnus's plans. Magnus, always a step ahead, skillfully activates his bishop, further strengthening his position on the board. Magnus gracefully develops his bishop with bxc4. Hikura seeks safety for his king by castling it to a secure location. Little does he know that this move will set in motion a series of events that will lead to his downfall. Magnus seizes the opportunity, playing rook c1 and putting Hikura's queen under his rook's radar. The pressure is on and Hikura must think quickly to protect his precious piece. Nakamura responds by backing off and he withdraws his queen with qe7. With his king and rook castle, Magnus seems poised for victory, but Hikura is not one to back down easily. Nakamura makes a surprising choice with b6, bringing his bishop to life, trying to fortify his position and mounting a counterattack, but Magnus remains unfazed, maneuvering his queen to e2. Hikura brings his bishop to b7, however Magnus remains unfazed, calmly moving his other rook to d1. Now Nakamura reinforces his defense with nbd7, holding his ground against Magnus's relentless pressure, but Magnus has a plan. He unveils a cunning move, ba6, challenging Nakamura to make a decision about his bishop on b7. Nakamura, not to be outwitted easily, responds with nc5, reshuffling his knight to attack Magnus's bishop. Magnus captures Nakamura's bishop with bxb7, exchanging pieces and leaving Nakamura to recapture with his queen. As the game progresses, Magnus displays his mastery by smoothly advancing his knight to e5. Threatening Nakamura's weakened position, Nakamura threatens Carlsen's knight with the move ncd7, fighting back and trying to stabilize his position. Magnus reveals his intentions with QF3 launching an attack on Nakamura's queen. Nakamura, ever resourceful, relocates his queen to A6, now really escaping the threat, and here comes Magnus roaring like a lion with NC6. He ambushes Nakamura's defense, pressuring him even further. Nakamura took his king to H8, hoping to withstand Magnus's relentless onslaught. But Magnus is relentless. He unveils his master stroke with NC4, hitting Nakamura's vulnerable queen once again. Nakamura determined to survive counterattacks with QX82, capturing a pawn. The tension reaches its peak as Magnus advances his pawn to G4. Hikaru desperately moves his knight by moving it to C5, creating an escape route, but Magnus is relentless, playing his knight to D6 and adding another layer of pressure to the centre of the board. This is where the game takes an unexpected turn. Hikaru, feeling the weight of the moment, makes a critical mistake. Instead of opting for the safest move, taking another pawn with queen at B2, he decides to go for an all-out attack, moving his knight to B3. Little does he know that this decision will be his undoing. Magnus remains calm and collected, skillfully manoeuvring his rook to C2, getting out of harm's way, but Hikaru, determined to salvage the situation, persists with his attack, playing queen A4. Once again, unfortunately for him, his move seals his fate. With a cunning move, Magnus plays his rook to C4, attacking Hikaru's queen yet again. The game hangs in the balance as Hikaru desperately searches for an escape route and takes queen to A6. Magnus strikes a lethal blow, attacking Hikaru's knight with pawn on G5. The stage is set for Magnus's pieces to unleash a devastating assault on Hikaru's vulnerable king. The gravity of the situation dawns on Hikaru as he starts to shake his head, realizing the grave mistake he's made. He moves his knight to the only square available, D7, but alas, it's too late. Magnus seizes the opportunity, placing his rook to H4 and pinning the king. Nakamura tries to fend off the impending doom with NBC5, hoping to find a ray of hope amidst the chaos, but Magnus, unyielding, delivers a crushing blow with NXF7, sacrificing his knight for a devastating attack. Nakamura, realizing the gravity of the situation, desperately sacrifices his rook with RxF7, attempting to create some counterplay. Hikaru tries one last time to invade Magnus's fort and launches his queen to E2, threatening Carlsen's rook. Magnus remains unfazed, seeing through Hikaru's desperate move. Magnus seizes the opportunity with RxD7, sacrificing his rook for a lethal attack. Nakamura's position crumbles under the pressure. Magnus, with a commanding position as Nakamura cornered, he takes back Hikaru's knight with queen to D7, and Hikaru brings his rook to play with rook F8. Then Magnus, the beast, plays his rook to F4, closing off any chance of Hikaru mounting a successful attack. Realizing the futility of his errors, Hikaru resigns, acknowledging Magnus's superior play. And that's all for now. Thank you for being a part of the community, and we'll see you in the next exciting episode. Take care, and we bid you adieu.